Tonight we are going to take a look at solving trig problems that involve the missing angles. Up until this point we have found only missing sides. So tonight let's take a look at some problems where we have to find the missing angle and we've been given the appropriate sides. The first example says in triangle ABC, C is the right angle, BC is 15 and AC is 20. They've actually even drawn the picture for you. Find angle A to the nearest degree. So we put a little x in there, and we see what trig ratio would be appropriate. Since I do not have the hypotenuse, I know it's tangent, and the tangent's 15 over 20. And what I have to ask myself is, what angle has a tangent of 0.75, or 15 over 20, or 3/4? Okay, this is using arctangent, also known as inverse tangent, and it's represented by the tangent -1 key on your calculator. That is above the tangent button, okay? And so you will use the second function key to get to that tangent -1 key, okay? You should see a little tan -1 above the tangent button. So you would set second and then tangent, and that's going to give you tangent -1. Which is, when I read that button, I say the words in my mind, the angle whose tangent is. So I press the second and tangent, and my mind is saying, I want the angle whose tangent is 0.75, and if you try that on your calculator, you should get 36.87, or they told us to round to the nearest degree, so that is 37 degrees. We'll try the rest of the examples on this sheet, and then I have some practice problems that I will assign to you that I can review also. In right triangle DEF, E is the right angle, so I will mark that, and I will put my D and my F. I have an 8 yards and an 8 yards here, and you should be saying in your mind, I don't even need to use trig, but if you're not saying that, let's just go for the sake of argument here that you don't recognize what this triangle is. And again, I would use tangent because I don't have the hypotenuse, and the tangent of this angle is 8 over 8. So just to practice using the keys, try putting in, I want the angle whose tangent is 1. And you should get, not even having to round, 45 degrees is the isosceles right triangle. A ladder, 25 feet long. There we go, got another ladder problem. Leans against the building and reaches the point 23.5 feet above the ground. Find to the nearest degree the angle the ladder makes with the ground. Now again, like I said earlier, these are very important to get the pictures drawn appropriately. So, my ladder's leaning. This is 23.5 feet. This is, the ladder is 25 feet. And I want to know the angle the ladder makes with the ground. So that's the one I'm looking for. So think in your head of what ratio you would use here, and hopefully you thought of sine. So the sine of some angle is 23.5 over x. 23.5 over 25. All right? So what you want to do is you want to press your second key up at the top, and then press sine, okay? And it should give you the angle whose tangent is, and then it's going to give you parentheses. It should say on your calculator sine -1 parentheses, I think. And then you'll put in the 23.5 divided by 25, that's a division symbol, and it should give you a measure of approximately, 70 degrees. Make sense? Okay. Couple terms we have to review here. Angle of elevation and angle of depression, because many of the word problems refer to these terms. Okay, very important. Now let's look at the picture. If I don't move it out of the way. There we go. So, angle of elevation kind of makes sense. This one, most students don't have an issue with. If you're standing down here and you're looking up at an object, Okay? Your eyes are making an angle of elevation. This is your sight line. Okay, so the angle of elevation is always drawn here at the bottom. The angle of depression is, for instance, if you're in a balloon, or if you're in like the top of a tower, okay, and you're standing up here. That's the stick person, you can't really tell that, but it is. Okay, the angle of depression is you're looking down this way, and it's kind of against the horizon, okay? But if you think about it, it's the same thing as the angle of elevation. And why is that? Why are these two angles the same? How many of you remember your vocabulary from the last unit? Let's think. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Well, I will tell you. The angle of depression is equal to the angle of elevation because they are alternate interior angles. Remember that vocabulary? Formed by parallel lines. So they form. Remember we talked about like yin and yang? Okay? They're kind of like yin and yang. They are congruent. All right. All my doodling here. All right? So they're alternate interior angles. The angle of depression is congruent to the angle of elevation. Let's see how these work. From the top of a barn, 25 feet tall. Okay? So you're standing up here at the top of a barn. And the barn is 25 feet tall. You see a little cat on the ground. Okay, there's my cat. Find the angle of depression of the cat. So what we're talking about is this. This is what we want to know. Okay, this is my angle of depression. And I want to know what that is. If the cat must walk 15 feet to reach the barn. All right, so we know this distance now is 15. Well, this angle, coincidentally, is congruent to this angle, which is inside my triangle. I neglected to say that before, but it's here. Okay? It's outside your right triangle, really, but it doesn't matter because it's going to be equivalent to that. So this one is outside my right triangle, but I can still use right triangle trigonometry because of the fact that it's congruent by alternate interior angles. So what trig ratio would you use? Not having the hypotenuse, we know it's a tangent, and the tangent of some degree measure is equal to 25 over 15. So what angle has a tangent of 25 over 15? So you're going to plug in your second key with your tangent key, and you should get approximately 59 degrees. That's a mess. Okay, but that's 59 degrees. All right? All right. In your practice packet, now I would like you to go to this page. Okay? It says homework on it, trigonometry. And I would like you to do the problems listed at the top. I will do a few of those. If you want to come back and check, I will do a few of them here, the answers, and we'll check the other ones tomorrow. Okay? So go ahead and pause the video here. Come back and check your answers to some of these. I'm not going to do all of them, okay? So let's start with number 1. Well, number 1, I'm trying to find this angle. I do not have the hypotenuse, so I know it's tangent. And the tangent of x equals 7 over 3. If I plug that in my calculator, I should get x is 67 degrees. Okay? Just so you can check these, I will tell you here that x is 37 degrees and x is 71 degrees. So you can check those on your own. Number 4, they drew the picture for you, so that's actually easier, and you should get 25 degrees. I'm not going to do that one. That's it's sine. Okay, I'll tell you that. Let's go up to maybe 8. Okay, so we did have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 8, 11, 12. So 8, this one I did into the picture, and this is where most students have the hardest time, is drawing the picture correctly. So I know I have a ladder, the old ladder leaning problem, and the ladder is 40 feet. The foot of the ladder is 32 feet from the building, and find to the nearest degree the angle the ladder makes with the ground. This is my ladder. The angle that it makes with the ground is here. So this is the degree that I'm finding, and I need to pick a trig ratio that would be appropriate. Since I have the hypotenuse, it's either sine or cosine, and this one is cosine. So cosine of x is 32 over 40. And you would use your second function key, and x would be approximately 36.87, and they said to the nearest degree, so I'm going to round that to 37 degrees. Final answer. Let's try one of the ones on the back. I will take maybe, let's see, 14 and 15 are kind of your own, so I will do number 11, since number 12 should be, at least A should be intuitive too. 11, it doesn't involve finding the degree, but because it has the angle of elevation, I will talk about this one. A monument stands on level ground. Here's my monument. The angle of elevation of the top of the monument, taken at a point 425, so this is the little monument here, okay? It's a big, I don't know, Washington Monument, got a big peak at the top. And 425 feet away, the angle of elevation, remember, is always in your triangle. Here, this is 32 degrees. Okay? It's 32 degrees. Find the height of the monument to the nearest foot. So we do not have our hypotenuse. This would be a tangent problem. Tangent of 32 equals x over 425. And if you do the math there, you should get x is approximately 265.57. And they ask us for nearest foot. So I'm going to say that's 266 feet to the nearest foot, rounded correctly. Okay? So you should be able to do the rest of those, and we will talk about them tomorrow. Have a terrific night.